Hey guys, we are going to start a new unit now. Before we did number and quantity, and a lot of that was review. And this time, a lot of this is going to be review as well. So we're going to get into a geometry unit. You know, it's my favorite. And first, we're going to start out with lines and angles and work our way through. I'll have a schedule for you guys as well so you know what's happening. Guys, please make sure that you are taking advantage of the ACT and SAT and take them this year. You are going to be the most prepared taking it this school year. Everything's mostly from freshman and sophomore year, and you guys need it to be fresh in your memory so that you guys do the best that you can. So some of this, all of this is review. We're going to get started. Let's look at different properties. Remember, if I have a square, this means that it's a right angle. That's what that box means. And right angles are 90 degrees. The word for this is complementary. So these are complementary angles. A and B add to equal 90 degrees. Okay, for here, A and B are on a line. So these are linear pairs. So they're linear pairs, which legitimately has the word line in it, telling us that these are linear pairs. Linear pairs are supplementary. And you know that this equals 180 degrees. So A plus B equals 180 degrees. Remember, angles are measured in degrees. So make sure every time you're looking for an angle, you make sure it's got the degree symbol. Okay, another one that you guys have seen before are vertical angles. So right here, both of these sets are vertical angles, and I'm going to show you why. So if I can do a crisscross with my lines, so if I can draw straight lines, then I see that they crisscross, and I furthermore see that these two angles are linear pairs. So kind of like kissing fish, however you want to think about it, but these are vertical angles, and they are congruent. Remember, this symbol means congruent. Congruent means same or equal. Over here, we also have vertical angles. Again, if I highlight my lines and I see that the lines are straight, then they crisscross and I have vertical angles. So A and B are vertical angles. So for here, A equals B. They are congruent to one another. Same for over here. A is congruent to B. Next are parallel lines with the transversal. Again, this is something you guys learned in geometry. So last year, we looked at this at the beginning of the year. And we're going to talk about the different kinds of angles. So the first kind, we have corresponding. And these are congruent. They are called corresponding because they're in the same position on the parallel lines. So if I take this whole section and I move it down, 8 and 6 should be in the same position. So all of our corresponding angles are all of these sets. So 8 and 6 are corresponding, 7 and 5. 2 and 4, 1 and 3. Those are all corresponding because they're in the same position on the parallel line. The next kind that we have are called alternate interior angles. So they alternate in between the parallel lines. So they're on opposite sides of the transversal, and they are inside the parallel line. So these are alternate and these are also congruent. So we have alternate interior angles, and we also have them with the 3 and 7. Next, so we just talked about alternate interior. Now we're going to look at alternate exterior. So 8 and 4, they are on opposite sides of the transversal, but they're both outside the parallel line. So these are alternate exterior angles, and these again are also congruent. So 1 and 5 are also alternate exterior angles. Lastly is our consecutive or same side interior, and these are not congruent. So we have 6 and 7, and I'm going to give them different markings because I want to show that they're not congruent. Remember, these arcs tell you whether things are congruent or not. So over here, these two are congruent because they have 1 arc. Here they have 2, so they're showing that these are not the same as as 8 and 4, but 1 and 5 are congruent. So remember, that's what this means. These are supplementary. And again, that means they equal 180. And these are same side interior. As far as the ACT, I don't think the names are all that important. Guys, it's been a while since I've taken the ACT and the SAT. I would still try to not forget these, but I think more so it's knowing the properties and knowing what's congruent and then what equals 180 degrees. So I want to look at kind of an example of this. So say, for instance, we are given angle 7, and they tell us that angle 7 is 120 degrees. So that's given. They tell me that that is true. Then let's find every other piece. So we know that 7 and 1 are vertical angles. So if 7 is 120, then 1 is 120. We're using all the properties that we just talked about. 7 and 5 are corresponding. So 5 is also 120. And then I see that 5 and 3 are vertical, so this is 120. The nice thing about this is that if they are parallel with a transversal, anything that it looks obtuse, all the obtuse ones will be the same, and all the acute angles will be the same. So then I can look at 8. How do I figure out what 8 is? Well, I know that these two together are linear pairs, so they equal 180. So all I do is take 180, subtract 120, and I get 60 degrees. So angle 8 is 60. And I see that 2 is the same, 6 is the same, and so is 4. So all of these are 60. In parallel lines with the transversal, if you're just looking at one set, half of them are going to be one number and the other half are going to be the other. So it makes it kind of easy. A couple other things we want to talk about that are going to come up in our drills that we're just about to start is some figures. So this figure is called a quadrilateral. It's a 4-sided figure or 4-sided polygon. And all of these add up to equal 360. A circle has 360 degrees, and then a triangle, remember, is 180. So these are all the things that we talked about last year. You've seen them in middle school too, but we used them a lot last year, so we're going to look at these a little bit more now. So looking at some ACT prep questions, these are some drills that the ACT test or book gives you. We're going to look at figure A. I have 3y and 2y. I see that both of these pieces are on a line, meaning they are linear or linear. So they are supplementary, meaning they equal 180. So together, 3y plus 2y equals 180. Now we're doing what we've talked about before in algebra. We are going to combine like terms. So 3y plus 2y is 5y. equals 180. And then to get y by itself, together they are multiplied. We do the inverse, which is to divide. And then now you can use your calculator so that you guys don't make mistakes on the ACT. Do not make mistakes for simple calculations. And you just do 180 divided by 5, and y equals 36. All right, B. It says, for the figure below, lines L and M are parallel, and same are N and O. So everything is parallel. So this one's kind of like a puzzle. We're going to find all the pieces that go to this. We're trying to figure out what Z is. I'm going to work my way over to Z. I see that I have alternate exterior angles. So if this angle is 60, I know that this angle is 60. And there are a couple of different ways you can do this. If you try to do this on your own, you can work your way over. Everybody can do it differently and still get the same answer. Then I see these two pieces, and I know that these are consecutive or same side interior angles, and they equal 180. So I can do 60 plus Z equals 180. So all I do is subtract 60, and I get 120. So Z equals 120. This is straight from geometry. Okay, C. This is an easier problem. What do all of these together make? They make a circle, which is why we talked about circles up above. So all of these angles add up to equal 360. So you can add them up. And once you do that, when we do that, we get 310 degrees. And then now we're going to take it from 360 to find this missing part. So 360 minus 310, and we get 50 degrees for X. So they all connect together. They're all in a big old circle, so they must equal 360. We're going to come back to D, just because I have more room for E at the moment. This is a quadrilateral, which we've already said equals 360 degrees total. So to figure out, I know that all of this adds up to equal 360 degrees. So I have 110 plus 120 plus X, and it equals 360. Okay, so now we're going to simplify both sides. We're going to add 110 and 120, which gives us 230. So we combine both pieces here. We add X and X, which gives us 2X. Remember, we're not multiplying, so it's not X squared. It's just 2 X's. There's invisible ones in front of the X's. Equals 360. And now just solve. Draw your line. Do inverse operations. What's farthest from X but is still on the same side? 230. So we subtract this on both sides. And we're given 2X equals 130. Divide by 2. And X equals 65 degrees. Last one, we have a triangle. So remember, a triangle equals 180. You have to work your way for this problem. We know that we have linear pairs, so these pieces are going to equal 180. So I can do 180 minus 110, and we're given 70. So this angle right here is 70. And same thing here, 140 from 180 gives me 40. And then now it gets really easy. We have a triangle, which we know is 180. So we take 180 and subtract our two angles. So minus 70 and minus 40. And we get 70 degrees. So y equals 70. So hopefully this unit, or today's unit, is fairly simple because it's all reviewing from last year. So hope you guys enjoy it and kind of reminisce being back in geometry. Bye.